The Chiefs have emerged victorious 49-34 over the Brumbies at home in Hamilton, and what was actually a pretty tightly contested game. Do not be fooled by this scoreline, 49-34. The Brumbies, they did concede a try very late in the piece when the game was basically over, did blow out the score a bit, but in reality this was a very back and forth ding dong sort of battle, and we can see it here on the points flow chart. Bit of back and forth in the first half. Then in the second half, Chiefs, about the 50th minute, they really threatened to run away with the game. They came out a bit hungrier, a bit more urgent, and they were carving the Brumbies up. They were running through them. But credit to the Brumbies, they did not go away. They did not give up, and you can see here they clawed their way back into it. And the final stages of the game, it really was all on up until those last sort of moments. And the nature of the game, it was kind of interesting. Both sides taking on contrasting styles here. The Brumbies, they really did try and play more of a structured game. They really knuckled down with their forwards when they had the ball, tried to get that go for going, and they were successful to some degree. They weren't so much plowing through the Chiefs, but they were getting enough go forward that it really opened up opportunities for them out wide, which they were able to convert through the likes of Corey Toole and Andy Muirhead. The Chiefs, in contrast, they thrived off the unstructured game. They just looked so lethal in open play on the counter-attack and at set piece. D-Mac was ever present. He was creating things. He was creating line breaks, and yeah, the Chiefs, they just looked so threatening all the time. But the thing that really let the Chiefs down, I think, is that despite how lethal they look, they really failed to control the game. They failed to really control a lot of ball and bully the Brumbies up front. And they really weren't able to shut down the Brumbies playing the sort of game that they do like to play, that structured game with the forwards. And that did kind of surprise me, because we saw that opening game with the Chiefs versus the Blues. The Blues, they loved that sort of forwards focused game as well. And the Chiefs, they really brought the physicality and they just shut it down completely. And that's what I thought they would be able to do in this game as well. I thought they'd be able to completely shut the Brumbies down and run all over them, but they did not do that. And really they did not look that interested in doing that. They did not look up for an immense physical battle like they did for that Blues game, and that's what let the Brumbies really stay in the fight. And credit to the Brumbies, they stuck to their guns. Even when the game threatened to get away from them, they didn't let it. They just put their heads down. They went straight back to the grindstone and they worked their way back into the game. And if we look closer at the game stats here, we can see both teams made quite a few turnovers here. Costly for both teams. A lot of them were actually kind of sloppy as well. They were unforced errors that didn't have to happen. If either team was able to play a bit tighter in that respect, that could have been the advantage they needed to really pull ahead. But otherwise, we can see as well, penalties conceded, very even stats, no cards at all in this game, which was great. Looking at the defense stats, Chiefs, they were forced to make a few more tackles just because of the way I was talking about earlier with how the Brumbies play. They like to use their forwards, they like to play a bit tighter, they get a lot of carries and force you to make tackles. We can see here though with the tackle completion rates, 80% for the Brumbies. That is on the low side, that's not good enough, but the Chiefs, they're just so threatening. I mean, what do you do against D-Mac when he's got space, when you've got those guys in that Chief backline? Like, they're hard to stop. Set pieces in general were actually quite even though what things weren't perfect for the Chiefs. Not receiving this restart down here for the Brumbies, that one proved very costly for them. The Chiefs were able to score an easy try off that just straight after the Brumbies had pulled their way back into the game in that second half. And again up here, just like the last game, we look at the tries and conversions. The Chiefs getting 5 out of their 6. The Brumbies only getting 2 out of 6. They are missing Lolosio, they are missing their number 1 goal kicker, but really, I mean, this this would have really kept them in the game. Getting on to individual performances, I mentioned Mackenzie earlier. He really was ever present, as he always is, topping the line breaks. He really created a lot this game before he got that head knock in the 70th minute, had to go off. The midfield pairing, ALB and Quinn Tupaia, both very busy. Quinn Tupaia in particular going on a lot of runs, and ALB just doing his Johnny on the spot thing, just being in the right place at the right time. Corey O'Toole also did find himself in a lot of space quite often and did look quite threatening out there. Luke Reimer also had an impact with his 3 turnovers at ruck time, though in general, surprisingly, not a huge amount of ruck turnovers in this game. I did feel like the Chiefs were really missing a guy like Luke Jacobson. He's currently out injured, but I think he's really the sort of guy who would have made an impact on that game. He really would have got mucked in with that forwards grind that the Brumbies do. He would have got in there and made some turnovers, and that really would have diffused a lot of what the Brumbies were bringing to the table. But beyond that, it was just another excellent game of Super Rugby Aotearoa 2025, which is game after game is delivering. I'm very entertained. I hope you are too. Let me know what your thoughts were about this game, and I'll see you after the next one.